Nana Chair, my host, Mr. Addison, ladies and gentlemen, I bring you greetings from my husband. Because I'm a relationship person, I'll have to start with his greetings for all of you and my children as well. Today we are here to have more discussions because we have started already. For the purpose of today's task, I have tried to put life on earth into 5 basic cycles. The first one is birth. Second is puberty and adolescent stage. 3, post-adolescent and adulthood. The 4th is marriage, and the last one is death. The one that we don't want to talk about, right? Yeah, but it's part of the life cycle. Now, how a person goes through stages 1 and 2 determines how he or she will fare in stages 3 and 4. Let me explain. A child is born into a family, and the child has nature and needs to be nurtured. Whatever happens during this time until adolescent period becomes a cornerstone in a child's life. Now, at adolescent and post-adolescent stages, the adolescent girl or boy is supposed to get an all-inclusive education or enlightenment, which is nurture, to either cement the cornerstone or erase it and then get restructured for the next stages of life, which is adulthood and marriage. I call these stages all-inclusive enlightenment because the home, the school, and religion comes to play in nurturing the child. One thing that is missing and has been missing in most of this circles of education is that we don't teach the child, an adolescent girl or boy, to live up to standard. We are failing woefully in this regard. And also discipline, which is basic part of their morals. We are failing gradually. Now, adult life comes in, and the tenets of life in a post-democratic nation or society becomes real. Now, the person who enjoyed all the all-inclusive enlightenment I mentioned earlier gets to adulthood and is prepared to live comfortably in society or nation where democracy is practiced. A lot has been said about democracy, so I will not explain, I'll just go ahead. Such a child never feels deprived of wisdom and never gets overwhelmed by challenges of life, but is able to do adjustments for a living. The opposite of the reverse is that the child who was denied this all-inclusive enlightenment also gets to adulthood and is faced with life in a bigger circle, society or country, where democracy is practiced. This kind of child or person becomes confused and easily is tossed about by the powers that be. Now, what is of mutual benefits or importance to me and you this afternoon is what I have captioned: practicing and maintaining Ghana's democracy in tranquility for posterity, the family perspective. I have put down some basic way, which is democracy, have been explained. So I'll go to posterity. What is posterity? We have students here, so let me try explaining a little. Posterity is a noun which means future generations. So if you hear posterity, posterity simply means future generations. This future generation could be yourself, your children, your great-great-grandchildren, or any people who are born after you. If you save something for posterity, you are hoping that years later, these people will appreciate it as a timely capsule. what future generation are we leaving? And what future generation are you becoming yourself? Because so long as you are not dead, you are someone's future generation. Now let's talk about the family. The family has a lot of definitions, so let me just give you about two. One is the basic definition of family is a people who are connected by blood or adoption, or simply parents and children living together as a unit. Another one will say a nation can be said to be a kind of family. So the family, we should note, is also a building block of society. So if the family is broken, society will automatically break down. What is happening in society currently is an indication of how our children are trained or raised. Now the Bible says that train up the child the way he should go, so that when he grows up he will not depart from it. Not the adults. Right? Have you all read that before? Yes. Train up the child the way he should go, so that when he grows he will not depart from it. So what are we teaching or training our children with? We don't train adults. So it is imperative that we teach children at the early childhood days. We teach them good morals, values, and acceptable norms, that they would be guided even in the absence of superior powers. In fact, today, if some of our children are around and there is nobody supervising or inspecting what they do, you are amazed to see what they do. Others leave CCTV cameras in their home without informing their helps and children. When they come and they watch the video, they begin to weep. What are we leaving our generation with? What books are we reading? What better life are we leading? That is what I came to provoke us on this afternoon. As the young generation and as parents, what are we teaching our children? How are we training them so that when they grow, they will keep the paths that we are supposed to live for them? These morals and values include truthfulness, respect for the elderly, hard work, commitment, and so on and so forth. Research has said that children between 0 and 9 can learn and pick basic moral standards, which I call cornerstones. Right? So if you leave your child away, oh, Dachi Hene, PSCA, and all the names we give to our young ones, and leave them to fool about, after 9 years, you are left to do what we call damage control. Damage control, which becomes it's like doing concrete on the floor of your building. Then after a week or so, you think that you want to do tiles or something. So you got to scrape the concrete, and it's difficult. So please, this afternoon, I just came to provoke us to go back and rewind and see what it is that we are leaving behind. That in future, when we are not there, our children, what are they producing? What are they doing? So I want to talk about marriage, because it is the basic, the minutest way of raising children in the family. It is a setting for incubation center for morals. How is the relationship between husband and wife, their children, and even their in-laws? What's the relationship? I also want to say that children are silent observers. Please, let's take note. Children, or the young people that we live with, whether biological or adopted or whatever, or we are just their guardians, they are silent observers. So for example, pupils are now given food, and at times I sit back and I watch the way they even talk when the food is served to them. I can't say some of the words here. It's so vulgar. They insult the president to their own enjoyment. They feel free. You ask them, what's wrong with you? Madam, and you are wondering, where did we get this from? The home is failing, the schools, the religious settings, the Muslims, the Christian. In Ghana, we have the three major ones. The traditional setting, where taboos, a lot of things were used, taboos were used to correct a lot of morals. Today, we are pushing all that to the background. I sit back and I watch immorality rise and I'm wondering what is happening. When we were young, the puberty rites that were performed to put morals, instill morals in children are no more being done. What are we doing? Let us go back to the moral values. What we have to eschew are the ones that are hurting the young ones. But so long as it is not hurting them, let us be sure that we can use it. So if couples are found insulting one another, religious leaders, nation leaders, for one wrong or the other, or better still in the name of politics, the children will eventually grow to do worse or sin. Let us note that charity begins at home. Let us therefore give our littles the needed holistic attention so that they will be blessed by posterity and, for that matter, God. I am Councillor Mrs. Sika Coleman. Shalom. Thank you for your attention.